you be my mommy?
Can you be my mom just for today? Naomi Carter stopped wiping the table. The little girl standing in front of her looked no older than 7. Her Navy school uniform was perfectly pressed, her shoes polished, her dark curls pulled back with a white ribbon. Nothing about her looked lost, except her eyes. Naomi glanced toward the hotel entrance. "Sweetheart, where is your father? He's coming." "Then why do you need me?" The girl placed a pink invitation on the table. "Mother and daughter day." Naomi looked back at her. "I'm sorry, but I'm working. You only have to stay until 3. The girl spoke carefully, as if she had practiced the sentence. "I'll bring you back before your shift ends." Naomi almost smiled. Almost. Then she noticed the child's hands shaking. Before Naomi could ask another question, the restaurant doors flew open. 2 security officers entered first. A tall Korean man followed them in a dark suit, his face controlled but his eyes filled with panic. The moment he saw the girl, relief crossed his face. Then he noticed her holding Naomi's hand. His expression changed. "Hana." The child tightened her grip. The man approached slowly. "What are you doing here?" Hana looked down. "You said someone would come. I arranged it." She cancelled. His jaw tightened. Naomi looked between them. The man turned to her. "What did you say to my daughter?" "Nothing. She walked into your restaurant and asked you to pretend to be her mother." "I didn't ask her to come here." One of the security officers reached for Hana. She stepped behind Naomi. The man stopped. For the first time, anger gave way to confusion. He looked at his daughter. "Why her?" Hana did not answer immediately. She looked up at Naomi, then wrapped both arms around her waist. "Because she makes me feel safe." Her voice became smaller, the way Mommy did. The entire restaurant went quiet. The man stared at Naomi as if he were seeing her for the first time, and Naomi had no idea that one frightened child's request was about to pull her into the life of Korea's most guarded billionaire, and uncover the reason his daughter had been waiting for someone who was never coming. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments, would you have agreed to be Hana's mother for one day? 3 months earlier, Naomi had barely noticed the little girl at table 12. She had been too busy surviving. Naomi had moved from Atlanta to Seoul after accepting an assistant management position with an American hospitality company. The job was supposed to give her experience before she opened a restaurant of her own. Instead, the company collapsed 4 months after she arrived. Its investors disappeared. The restaurants never opened, and Naomi was left with a visa tied to a job that no longer existed. The Grand Miron Hotel offered her a lifeline. It was not the management position she had expected. She wore a black uniform, served wealthy guests, and took orders from managers with less experience than she had. But the hotel sponsored her visa. So Naomi swallowed her pride, rented a small apartment in Mapo, and kept saving toward the cafe she still hoped to open one day. That was where she met Hana. Every Thursday afternoon, the girl arrived with her father. He always wore a dark suit, always sat beside the window, and always had a phone or a file open in front of him. He knew Hana's schedule, her allergies, and the exact temperature of her water. But he rarely asked what she wanted. The first afternoon Naomi served them, he ordered grilled salmon. Hana stared at the plate without touching it. Naomi leaned closer. "Is something wrong?" Hana glanced at her father, who was speaking quietly on the phone. Then she whispered, "I don't like salmon. What do you like?" "Pasta. Cream sauce." Hana nodded. "No mushrooms?" Another nod. "Excellent choice." Naomi returned with pasta. Her father ended his call and looked at the new plate. "I ordered salmon." She said she preferred pasta. His gaze shifted to his daughter. "You told her that?" Hana immediately lowered her eyes. Naomi regretted making her feel caught. The man looked back at Naomi. "My daughter follows a meal plan." Naomi kept her voice respectful. "Understood, sir." "Then why did you change it?" "Because she told me she didn't like the salmon." "I did not ask what she liked." Naomi glanced at Hana, then back at him. "No, sir, you didn't." The words hung there. Naomi expected a complaint. Instead, the man watched Hana take one bite of pasta, then another. The following Thursday, he began to order salmon again, then stopped. He looked at his daughter. "What would you like?" Hana glanced at Naomi. "Pasta." Her father nodded. Pasta. That became the beginning. Naomi learned the man's name was Kang Min-jae, chairman of Kangsong Holdings and one of Korea's youngest billionaires. The hotel staff treated his table like a royal court. Naomi treated it like table 12. She folded Hana's napkins into flowers, listened when the girl spoke about school, and corrected her English while Hana corrected Naomi's Korean. Min-jae usually watched without joining them. He was not cruel. He was simply guarded. After his wife Jia died 2 years earlier, he had filled Hana's life with schedules, tutors, and security. Everything was organized. Nothing was warm. Naomi never told him that. Hana was not her child, and Min-jae had never asked for parenting advice. She only made small observations when the moment allowed it. When Hana stared unhappily at a chocolate cake Min-jae ordered to celebrate her grades, Naomi quietly asked, "You don't like chocolate either?" Hana shook her head. Min-jae looked surprised. "What do you like?" "Strawberry." The following week, a strawberry cake appeared without anyone asking. Another afternoon, Min-jae announced they had to leave for Hana's piano lesson while she was showing Naomi a drawing. Naomi handed it back. "It looks unfinished." Hana nodded. Min-jae checked his watch, then sat down again. "Piano can begin 30 minutes later." Naomi said nothing. She did not need to. Over the next 3 months, Hana began talking more during their Thursday meals. Min-jae made fewer phone calls. He learned how to ask instead of deciding. The changes were small enough that no one could accuse Naomi of interfering. But Min-jae noticed where they began. Then mother and daughter day arrived. After the confrontation in the restaurant, Naomi agreed to attend under 2 conditions. Min-jae had to come with them, and the school had to understand that Naomi was only a family friend. "You are not a family friend," he said. "Then today might be a good time to become one." For a second, he almost smiled. The school event began awkwardly. Hana pulled Naomi toward a craft table while Min-jae stood nearby, looking as though he would rather negotiate a corporate merger than decorate paper. Their first activity was a family tree. Hana carefully wrote her mother's name on one branch and drew a flower beside it. Naomi asked softly, "What was she like?" Min-jae's hand stopped. Naomi worried she had crossed a line. Then Hana said, "She sang when she cooked." "Was she good?" "No." Min-jae laughed. It was quiet and surprised, as if the sound had escaped him. "She was terrible," he admitted, "but very confident." Hana smiled. For the rest of the afternoon, Min-jae answered questions about Jia instead of avoiding them. When the children were asked to dance with their parents, Hana grabbed Naomi's hand and then her father's. "I don't dance," Min-jae said. Naomi held out her hand. "That sounds like fear." "I'm not afraid of dancing." "Then prove it." They were terrible. Hana laughed so hard she forgot the steps. Min-jae forgot his phone. And Naomi forgot, for several dangerous minutes, that she was only pretending. An elegant woman watched from the entrance. She wore a cream suit and carried herself with the confidence of someone accustomed to entering rooms that already belonged to her. Min-jae saw her first. "Seo-yeon." Hana's smile disappeared. Seo-yeon approached and bent toward her with a gift bag. "I'm sorry I'm late." "You cancelled," Hana said. "My schedule changed." She held out the bag. "I brought you a bracelet." Hana accepted it only after Naomi quietly reminded her to say thank you. Seo-yeon noticed. She also noticed Hana's hand returning immediately to Naomi's. "And you are?" she asked. Before Naomi could answer, Hana said, "She's my mom today." Seo-yeon smiled. But the warmth never reached her eyes. At the end of the event, she found Naomi alone near the exit. "Hana is grieving," Seo-yeon said. "Children in that condition can become attached very quickly." "I know. She may mistake kindness for something permanent." Naomi understood the warning. "I am not trying to replace anyone." "Good." Seo-yeon's smile sharpened. "Then we understand each other." Naomi assumed the strange day would end there. Instead, Hana's attachment deepened. She added Naomi's name to the family tree beneath a branch labeled "People Who Make Me Happy." She asked Naomi to attend her school play. Min-jae began inviting Naomi to occasional outings when Hana requested her, never as an employee, and never without asking first. A noodle shop, a walk beside the Han River, an afternoon at a bakery where Hana covered 3 cupcakes in enough frosting to feed a classroom. Naomi joined only when she was free. When Min-jae offered to compensate her for helping Hana rehearse for the school play, she refused. "I am not a tutor. You gave up your afternoon. I wanted to." He looked at the envelope in his hand. "Most people do not refuse me." "That sounds healthy for you," Min-jae laughed. Their friendship grew slowly over the next 2 months. Not through dramatic dates, but through ordinary moments. Conversations while Hana drew nearby. Messages about school projects. Arguments over whether strawberry milk counted as breakfast. Min-jae spoke more openly about Gia. He admitted that after losing her, he became afraid of anything he could not control. Naomi did not lecture him. She only said, "Sometimes leaving a little space does not mean something bad will fill it." He remembered that. He began taking Hana to school himself once a week. He attended another school event without being asked. He even learned to tie Hana's white ribbon properly. Seo-yeon noticed every change. She had known Min-jae for years. Their families expected them to marry, and she had assumed patience would eventually make the decision inevitable. Then Naomi appeared. Hana no longer looked toward Seo-yeon for approval. Min-jae smiled at his phone during meetings. The three of them were forming something Seo-yeon could not control, so she began carefully. First, she requested that another server handle the Thursday reservations. Then she complained to hotel management that Naomi had blurred professional boundaries with an important guest. Mr. Choi summoned Naomi to his office. "Miss Yoon believes your relationship with Chairman Kang's family has become inappropriate. I have never contacted them without permission. You attended a private school event, with the chairman present." Mr. Choi avoided her eyes. "From now on, you will not serve their table." Naomi understood what he was truly saying. The hotel did not care whether she had behaved improperly. It cared that Seo-yeon felt uncomfortable. Understood. Naomi did not tell Min-jae. She did not want him threatening the hotel or using his influence to force management's hand. More importantly, she did not want Hana pulled into an adult conflict. For 3 weeks, she stayed away from their section. When Hana asked for her, the staff said she was busy. When Min-jae requested her, management claimed she had been reassigned. Eventually, he found Naomi near the service elevator. "Did something happen?" He studied her. "You stopped serving us. Management moved me. Why?" Naomi hesitated. "It is better if you ask them." His expression hardened. "Was it Seo-yeon?" Naomi said nothing. That was answer enough. "I will deal with it." "No. You have been removed from your position because of my family. And if you walk into the manager's office and demand they restore me, what happens the next time someone complains?" He looked at her. Naomi kept her voice calm. "I need my job to be mine, Min-jae, not something I keep because you frightened someone." He was quiet for a moment, then nodded. "Understood." It was the first time Naomi realized how much he had changed. Months earlier, he would have solved the problem before listening to her. Now he respected the boundary, even though he disliked it. The school play was scheduled for the following week. Naomi had requested the afternoon off a month earlier. Hana had one line. She had rehearsed it every Thursday until she could say it without looking at the paper. "You will be there?" she asked Naomi. "I will." "You promise?" "I promise." On the day she was out of her uniform and was preparing to leave when Mr. Choi stopped her. 2 servers called in sick. "I requested this afternoon off. We need you." "I have somewhere important to be." His expression hardened. "More important than your visa." Naomi went still. He did not have to explain. Without the hotel's sponsorship, she had little time to secure another job before she would be forced to leave Korea. Naomi looked at the clock. The play began in 40 minutes. At 4 o'clock, Hana stood backstage in a yellow costume, peering through the curtain. Min-jae sat in the front row. The chair beside him remained empty. "She's coming," Hana whispered. At 4:30, she walked onto the stage. She looked at the empty seat. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. The teacher whispered the line from the side. Min-jae found her crying in a storage room. "She promised." He crouched beside her. Something may have happened, she promised. His instinct was to explain, to tell her not to cry and to find a solution. Instead, he remembered what Naomi had taught him without ever claiming to teach him. He sat beside his daughter. He waited. Eventually, Hana leaned against him. That evening, Min-jae went to the hotel. He found Naomi carrying glasses through a private event. "Hana waited for you." Naomi's face fell. "I tried to leave." "Then why didn't you?" "My manager cancelled my time off." "Why?" Naomi looked around at the listening staff, then lowered her voice. "Because Seo-yeon complained about me. Management made it clear that leaving today could cost me my job." Min-jae's face changed. "Why did you not tell me?" "Because I didn't want you fixing it with power. My daughter thought you abandoned her." "That is not fair." "No," he said sharply. "It isn't." Naomi stared at him. A second later, regret crossed his face. "I'm sorry." It was the first time she had heard him apologize. "I should not have said that." Naomi looked down at the glasses in her hands. "I wanted to be there." "I know." "No, you don't. I spent the whole afternoon imagining her looking at that empty chair. Min-jae's anger disappeared. He stepped closer. Come and tell her. I am still working. When your shift ends, it will be late. She is awake because she has asked every 10 minutes whether you called. An hour later, Naomi sat beside Hana on the staircase of Min-jae's quiet mansion. I'm sorry, Naomi said. You promised. I know. Did you forget? Never. Did you choose work? Naomi swallowed. I was afraid of losing my job. Hana looked at her. Naomi did not hide behind excuses. That does not mean you were unimportant. It means adults sometimes care about someone and still make choices because they are scared. But I should have found a way to call you. Hana's eyes filled. You should have. You're right. Naomi waited. After several seconds, Hana hugged her. Across the room, Min-jae watched them. That night changed the shape of their relationship. Min-jae no longer pretended Naomi was simply a waitress Hana liked. Naomi no longer pretended she felt nothing when he looked at her. But neither of them rushed. Weeks became months. They shared more meals, more walks, and more ordinary afternoons with Hana. Sometimes Min-jae came to the hotel alone near the end of Naomi's shift just to walk her to the station. They spoke about food, grief, ambition, and the cafe Naomi still dreamed of opening. He offered to invest once. She refused. I knew you would say no, he said. Then why ask? Hope. Dangerous habit. He smiled. Seo-yeon saw that smile. By then, subtle interference was no longer enough. During a private charity dinner at the Grand Miran, Seo-yeon reported that a diamond bracelet had disappeared. Security searched the staff lockers. They found it inside Naomi's bag. Naomi stared at the velvet box. I've never seen that before. Seo-yeon stood near the office door, calm and disappointed. I warned you she had become too comfortable. Naomi looked directly at her. You put that there. That is a serious accusation. So is theft, the police were called. By morning, Naomi had lost her job and her visa sponsorship. Before Min-jae could speak to Hana, Seo-yeon reached her first. She told the child Naomi had only stayed close to them because Min-jae was rich. She said Naomi had finally taken what she wanted. Hana refused to believe her. Naomi's phone had been taken during questioning. The hotel said she was gone. And that evening, while the household staff changed shifts, Hana packed the family tree into her school bag, slipped through the delivery gate, and disappeared into the rain. By the time Min-jae realized Hana was gone, 12 minutes had passed. 12 minutes should not have been enough for a 7-year-old to disappear from a guarded estate. But Hana knew the household's routines better than anyone thought. She knew the kitchen delivery gate remained open during the evening shift change. She knew the guards watched the front entrance when her father returned from work. And she knew which bus stopped near the Grand Miran Hotel. Except Naomi no longer worked there. Hana discovered that after standing outside the hotel in the rain, clutching the family tree beneath her coat. The doorman recognized her immediately. Hana, where is your father? She looked past him toward the restaurant. Is Naomi inside? His expression changed. Can you call her? I don't have her number. She always comes on Thursdays. Not anymore. Hana lowered her eyes. Because she stole something. The man hesitated. That was enough. Hana turned and ran back into the rain. At the Kang residence, security vehicles were already leaving through every gate. Min-jae stood in the foyer while his head of security issued instructions over the phone. She has no phone, Min-jae said. We know. She left in slippers. We are checking the hotel, her school, and every route between them. Each calm answer made his panic worse. Seo-yeon stood near the staircase. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Min-jae turned toward her. Hana became too dependent on that woman, she continued. Now she is acting irrationally because Naomi disappeared. Why did you tell her Naomi only wanted money? Seo-yeon blinked. I tried to explain what happened in a way she could understand. You told my daughter Naomi used her. The bracelet was found in her bag. That was not my question. Silence filled the foyer. One of the security officers approached quickly. Chairman, we found footage of Hana entering the Grand Miran. She left 6 minutes later. Where did she go? We are tracing the cameras. Min-jae headed for the door. Seo-yeon followed. You cannot blame me for this. He stopped. I am not blaming you for Hana leaving. I am asking why you poisoned her trust in someone she loved. I protected her. From what? Seo-yeon's composure slipped. From becoming attached to someone who was never going to stay. Min-jae stared at her. Naomi's visa expires, she continued. Eventually she returns to America. Hana loses another person, and you are left repairing the damage. That was not your decision to make. And what was I supposed to do? Watch the two of you turn me into a visitor in the family I was expected to join. The words hung between them, not protection, fear. Seo-yeon seemed to realize what she had revealed. Min-jae's voice became quiet. What did you do? Before she could answer, his phone rang. Chairman, we found Hana near the old pedestrian bridge in Mapo. She was asking for directions. To where? There was a pause. Naomi Carter's apartment. Min-jae was already moving. Naomi had been released from the police station shortly after sunset. No charges had been filed, but the investigation remained open. Her hotel uniform hung over the back of a chair. Beside it lay a notice confirming the withdrawal of her employment sponsorship. She had 30 days to secure another eligible position or prepare to leave Korea. Naomi folded the letter and placed it beside the notebook containing the plans for the cafe she had dreamed of opening. For the first time since arriving in Seoul, she allowed herself to consider going home. Someone knocked. Naomi checked the time. It was nearly 10. The knock came again, softer this time. She looked through the peephole and pulled the door open. Hana stood in the hallway, drenched and shivering. Naomi grabbed her and pulled her inside. Hana? What are you doing here? The girl wrapped both arms around her. Naomi locked the door, found a towel and crouched in front of her. Does your father know where you are? Hana shook her head. Naomi closed her eyes. Hana, you cannot keep leaving alone. I had to find you. No. You had to tell your father where you wanted to go. He believes Miss Seo-yeon. Naomi stopped drying her hair. What did she tell you? That you took the bracelet. That you only like me because Daddy is rich. Hana reached into her wet bag and removed the family tree. The paper had blurred around the edges, but Naomi's name remained visible. I said she was lying, but then you didn't call. I was at the police station. Hana's eyes widened. Did they arrest you? They questioned me. Did you steal it? Naomi held her gaze. No. Hana nodded immediately. I knew it. Naomi reached for her phone. I need to call your father. Hana caught her wrist. Are you leaving Korea? Naomi could not lie. I might have to. Because of me? No. Because Daddy didn't protect you. The question struck harder than Naomi expected. She took Hana's hands. None of this is your fault. Then stay. It may not be that simple. Hana began to cry. Naomi pulled her close. I'm here now. You said that before. Naomi shut her eyes. A heavy knock struck the door. Hana! Min-jae's voice. Naomi opened it. He stood in the hallway, soaked from the rain and breathing hard. The moment he saw his daughter, every trace of control left his face. He crossed the room and pulled Hana against him. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he leaned back, checking her face and hands as though he needed proof she was unharmed. You left the house. Hana lowered her eyes. I'm sorry. You could have been hurt. You could have. His voice broke. Hana stared at him. Min-jae lowered his voice. I was terrified. She threw her arms around his neck. He held her until her crying slowed. Only then did he look at Naomi. What happened at the police station? They questioned me and released me. Why did no one call me? I didn't ask them to. His expression hardened. Naomi, I did not want you making this disappear with money. This is not the time to prove you can survive without help. And this is not the time to treat me like another problem you can solve with a phone call. Hana looked between them. Min-jae noticed and stopped. You're right, he said. Naomi's anger faltered. But you were accused because of your connection to us. Your job is gone. Your visa is threatened. My daughter crossed Seoul because someone convinced her you abandoned her. I am involved whether you like it or not. Naomi looked away. He was right too. Hana reached for both their hands. Please don't fight. We're not fighting, Naomi said. Min-jae glanced at her. We are disagreeing badly. A small laugh escaped Hana. At the door, Min-jae looked back at Naomi. Please do not leave Seoul until I know what happened. Naomi nodded. Fine. The investigation moved quickly after that. Naomi made Min-jae promise not to interfere with the police. Instead, he hired an independent security firm to examine the hotel footage and turned every finding over to investigators. A camera showed Seo-yeon's assistant entering the staff corridor shortly before the bracelet was reported missing. Another placed her near Naomi's locker. Then investigators examined the insurance photograph Seo-yeon had submitted. The bracelet was visible in the picture. The timestamp showed it had been taken in Seo-yeon's private suite after Naomi's shift had begun. A large payment to her assistant 2 days earlier completed the pattern. Min-jae invited Seo-yeon to his office. She arrived composed, wearing white. "You found Hana," she said. "Thank God. Sit." He placed a tablet in front of her. The footage played. "This proves nothing." He displayed the photograph, the timestamp, and the bank transfer. Her face tightened. "You accessed my finances. I investigated a crime committed against someone connected to my family." "She is not family." The words came too quickly. Min-jae leaned back. "No, but you were supposed to become family. Min-jae, listen to me. I've listened for years. I did this because you refused to see what was happening." "What was happening?" "You were falling in love with her." Silence settled over the office. Seo-yeon's eyes filled, though she did not cry. "You looked at Naomi the way you once looked at Jia. Hana chose her before she ever chose me. I attended dinners, I brought gifts, I learned her schedule, none of it mattered. Hana did not reject you because of Naomi. You don't know that." "I do." Min-jae stood. "She never needed expensive gifts, she needed someone to listen. Naomi did. Eventually I learned to. You never tried." "I was protecting the future we planned." "No. You were protecting the position you believed you deserved." Seo-yeon rose. "And what happens when Naomi leaves, when Hana loses another woman she loves? That fear did not give you the right to destroy her life." Resentment replaced the sadness in Seo-yeon's face. "You would have chosen her anyway. There was never supposed to be a choice." Min-jae pressed the intercom. 2 investigators entered. Seo-yeon stared at him. "You called the police, you planted evidence and made a false statement." "My family will bury this. That is no longer my concern." As the officers approached, Seo-yeon looked at him one final time. "She will never belong in your world." Min-jae answered quietly. "Then perhaps the problem is my world." 3 days later, Naomi was formally cleared. The hotel manager called personally and offered to restore her position and sponsorship. Naomi listened until he finished. Then she said, "You fired me before the investigation was complete. We were under significant pressure." "I know. We are prepared to correct the mistake." Naomi looked at the returned uniform, the visa notice and the cafe notebook lying open on her table. "No." The manager went silent. "I appreciate the offer," she continued, "but I'm not coming back." After the call, she opened the notebook. On the first page was a drawing she had made during her flight to Seoul. A small cafe, 6 tables, an open kitchen, a shelf filled with children's books. For years it had looked like a dream waiting somewhere in the future. Now it looked like a choice. Min-jae and Hana arrived that evening with strawberry cake. "We are celebrating," Hana announced. "My innocence." "You were always innocent," Hana said. "That is why we are celebrating." They sat on the floor because Naomi only owned 2 chairs. While Hana watched a cartoon, Min-jae noticed the open notebook. "What is that?" "Nothing." He held out his hand. Naomi narrowed her eyes. "You are very used to people giving you things. I'm working on it." She passed him the notebook. He read the menus, cost estimates, and neighborhood notes in silence. "You planned all of this?" "For years." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you would try to pay for it." "I could. That is exactly why." He handed the notebook back. "What would you accept?" "Advice. Introductions, maybe." "A normal commercial lease." Naomi studied him. "You own a building?" "I own several." That was not an invitation to brag. A smile touched his face. "There is a vacant ground floor space in Yeonam. You can inspect it. If you hate it, you walk away." "At market rate." "At market rate. No secret investment. None. No calling the bank." "I will not call the bank." Hana looked up. "Can the cafe have strawberry cake?" Naomi smiled. "Yes." "Then do it." 3 months later, Naomi signed the lease using her savings and a small business loan. The cafe opened at the beginning of autumn. It was smaller than the one in her notebook. The kitchen was cramped, one tap leaked, and the sign arrived slightly crooked. Naomi loved every inch of it. She called it Safe Place. Min-jae thought the name was too direct. Hana informed him he was wrong. On opening morning, she sat at the corner table doing homework while Min-jae repeatedly stood in the staff's way. "You are blocking the counter," Naomi told him. "I'm standing." "In the wrong place," he moved. "Still wrong." Hana sighed. "You are bad at cafes. I run several companies. None of them have cupcakes. That is apparently my weakness." Over the following months, their lives settled into something neither Naomi nor Min-jae named. He came to the cafe twice a week, sometimes with Hana, sometimes alone. Naomi attended school events when invited, but she never allowed Hana to introduce her as her mother again. Not because the words frightened her, because she wanted Hana to understand that love did not require pretending. One evening after closing, Hana placed 3 plates on a table. Strawberry cake for herself, coffee cake for Naomi, nothing for Min-jae because he claimed he was not hungry. Then he ate half of Naomi's. "That is theft," she told him. "I changed my mind. Very brave." Hana watched them. "Are you going to marry Daddy?" Both adults froze. Naomi nearly dropped her fork. "It is a normal question," Hana said. "No," Naomi replied. "It is an extremely direct question. You tell me to say what I feel." That advice had limits. Min-jae cleared his throat. "Hana, wash your hands." "I already did. Do it again." She sighed and walked toward the back room. The moment she disappeared, Naomi folded her arms. "That was cowardly. I needed 30 seconds. For what? To decide whether I should ask you something." Her heart changed rhythm. Min-jae moved closer. "When Hana first chose you, I believed she was confused. I thought safety came from schedules, security, and knowing where everything was." He held Naomi's gaze. "Then you entered our lives and refused almost everything I offered. You never told me how to raise my daughter. You simply listened to her, and somehow taught me to do the same." Naomi looked down. "And without asking for any place in our family," he continued, "you became part of it. What are you asking? Whether we can stop pretending this is only friendship. And what happens if it does not work? We are honest with Hana. What if I need space? I give it. What if you try to solve an argument by buying another building?" "I remember this conversation," she smiled. "That is not a guarantee, no, but it is honest. Months earlier, he would have demanded certainty. Now he stood before her willing to accept an answer he could not control." "We can try," Naomi said. He smiled slowly. "Try. Do not ruin it. I will do my best." "That is slightly reassuring." He kissed her gently. From the back room, Hana shouted, "I knew it!" Naomi pulled away. "You were listening." Hana appeared around the corner. "I was washing my hands near the door." Min-jae covered his face. Naomi laughed as Hana squeezed herself between them. For a moment, all 3 stood beneath the warm cafe lights. No contracts, no pretending. No borrowed mother for one day. Only 3 people who had chosen, carefully and imperfectly, to stay. A year later, Hana carried another pink invitation into the cafe. Mother and Daughter Day. She placed it in front of Naomi. "You know I'm not pretending this time," Naomi said. Hana nodded. "I know. And your father is coming. He knows. And I need to close early. I already made a sign." Naomi looked toward the window. A handwritten notice had been taped crookedly to the glass. "Closing AT2. Family emergency. This is not an emergency." Hana picked up her school bag. "It is a family." Min-jae entered carrying 3 umbrellas. Naomi looked at them both. Her chest filled with something quiet and steady. Hana took one hand. Min-jae took the other, and together they walked out beneath the autumn rain.